Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Fred Allvader. I'm publisher of the Ohio Golf Journal. And on behalf of the Ohio Golf Association, there are 188 member clubs. I want to welcome you to this induction ceremony. We are lucky to have two worthy honorees this evening. But before we get started, the Ohio Golf Association wants to thank Plum Brook Country Club for once again hosting the Ohio Senior Amateur Hall of Fame Championship and the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Pretty good dinner, huh? Yeah, pretty good stuff. The Ohio Golf Hall of Fame dates back to 1992 and includes golfers who have made an impact on the game and have achieved the highest levels of competition, devoting their lives to the game of golf. Just a few of the names that have been inducted in the past are some names you probably know: Jack Nicklaus, Bob Hope, Peggy Kirk Bell, Pete Dye, Jack Grout, Tom Weiskopf, Renee Powell, John Cook, Ben Curtis, Meg Mallon, and Rosie Jones. The two gentlemen that are being inducted this evening are joining a very elite group of golfers. Just a couple of words about the Ohio Golf Association. As an allied golf association of the USGA, they conduct USGA qualifiers and Ohio competitions to identify the best amateur golfers in the state. Alan Fidel is the president of the Board of Governors, and Matt Lefferts is the executive director. Together they do an outstanding job of overseeing the Ohio Golf Association. So with those things behind us, let's kind of get on to the task at hand. So starting off tonight, of course, we have two honorees, Bob Sowards and Gary Taylor. We're going to start with Bob this evening. It seems like every month we have a news article about Bob Sowards. I'm going to have to start sending him a bill for all the print that he keeps getting. In talking with several of my friends, actually, that compete against him in Ohio Senior Pro events, when they see Bob is in the field, they know they're playing for second place or worse. If I told you that Bob has won 3 Open Championships and 3 Ohio Senior Open Championships, those would be solid enough reasons or credentials to earn a spot in the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame right there. But that's just the warm-up. That's just the appetizer. It would take too long for me to list all of Bob's accomplishments on the golf course, but here's just a couple more. He competed on the Korn Ferry Tour, qualified for the PGA Tour 2008, has played in 41 PGA Tour events, including 11 PGA Championships. He was named the PGA National Club Professional Player 4 times and won the PGA National Club Professional Championship in 2004. There's some pretty good guys that play in that, I understand, so that's a pretty good honor. Once he joined the senior ranks, he continued to win. He was the PGA National Senior Club Professional of the Year 3 times, not once, not twice, 3 times. Won the National Senior Club Professional Championship in 2018. So he's won the Club Pro, the regular, and now he's won the senior. I don't know, you got a super senior in your future? Is that coming? In 2021, Bob gave the tour pros that play on the PGA Champions Tour a scare as he led the senior PGA at Southern Hills for 31 holes and eventually finished tied for 5th. You got exemptions from that, I understand, right? They're going to let you play on the Champions Tour? No. Yeah, you don't get much there, do you? But he nearly did not even tee it up that week, from what I understand. I hope this is the right story. He had a daughter that was graduating from high school that week. Is that correct? That's correct. And the same weekend, he was going to withdraw from the tournament. But, as all good husbands do, they listened to their wife, who told him, you know, if you play well, you could pay for a year or 2 of college. So that was kind of the deciding factor. And Bob admitted that she rules the roost and he just pretty much does what he's told. There you go. We'll drink to that. All right. It's my pleasure to introduce Bob's wife, Lynn, who will present him for induction.
Thank you. There's no stool here, so I hope you see me. 3 things I can say right now with that introduction. He took half of my speech. I need better tickets to Muirfield, but as well as he plays, and more importantly, yes, we paid for some college.
All
Thank
right.
God. But thank you to the Ohio Golfers Association for inducting my husband and best friend Bob Sowards to the Ohio Golfers Hall of Fame. This is truly an honor. On behalf of my family and our friends, we also congratulate Mr. Gary Taylor for this well-deserving honor. Cheers to you, sir. My drink is over there. Okay. In addition, when I married Bob in 1997, public speaking was not discussed. Okay, so just to let you know, and if anything more, we don't need to give him more accolades. Okay, I think he's had enough in a lifetime. But Bob, when Bob was informed that he was inducted and that I would have to induce him, my imagination went everywhere. But I promised to be honest and supportive. So here it goes. This would never, ever be possible without celebrating his mom and dad, Pam and Chuck Sowards. We lost them way too soon, but they were the apple of our eyes and really good people. They're watching him from heaven as we speak, enjoying Bob and his brother Mike's success. Mike's also in the golf business. Chuck and eventually Pam love the game of golf so much they introduced him, both of the boys, during, I think it was middle school or early. I can't say, I wasn't around then. Although they had to earn their way to the golf course, I blame Mike, his brother, for the competition, because in my opinion, that's where Bob gets his drive for success. Bob is truly a good competitor. Throughout the years, Bob and I have built a family that includes outstanding friends. We couldn't have done this without our friends. These friends and family have helped us along the way with Bob's career, as well as raising our daughter, Jordan. They are here to celebrate with us. Melissa and Ryan Bruncheck, as well as Nicole and Andy Montgomery. Nicole left me tonight, but we will pay for this next time, okay? Bob is known and should be as a great golfer. Since Bob and I met at Brookside Golf and Country Club in 1992, I've been lucky enough to watch most of his professional golf career. I've always been fascinated with his ability to maintain his emotions regardless of the score. Good, great, and not so great, he is stoic while I'm drinking in the clubhouse, okay? Which is not a joke. He can make lemonade from lemons while I'm adding vodka, okay? He continues to persevere and practice perfect his game. He is so self-motivated. I've thrown in the towel only twice. Did you get the, okay? As much effort as he puts into his own game, he finds much joy and success in teaching others, especially juniors. Jordan and I hear about all his junior tournament scores and accomplishments. He is always so proud. Sometimes we tell him to shut up. I'm not sure if that's allowed here, but enough is enough, right? Over many years as a team, I have been fortunate to travel with him. And by the way, that was my honeymoon. Golf, okay? And spectated at most national tournaments and all majors other than his top 5, which is at the 2021 Senior PGA. We're gonna cut out a paragraph because, as you know, my daughter was graduating. And however, she can graduate all she wants because I won't be spectating again, okay? That top 5 is paying for college, okay? Way to go on, punch it in, okay? There are many layers to Bob that you have all not experienced, okay? I mean, he looks reserved and everything else. He's typically quiet. Many times we hear that he stands in the peripheral and he has little to say. At home, we cannot shut him up, and we have tried, okay? He is funny. He dances and he sings. Not well, okay? But he's not always as serious as one may think. Bob is a statistician. He crunches NFL numbers for months at a time, okay? He says he's only in 3 drafts, but I find that not true, okay? Ryan, shush. okay? If anybody knows my husband and you know him well, college basketball is his thing. Go Big Blue. And if you don't know what that is, get out, okay? All right? All of his non-golf shirts are UK. We all are required to have uniforms. And during March Madness, you better not speak in my house, okay? My daughter, the love of our life, she was admitted to UK and decided not to go, and I completely blame that on Bob. Instead, she picked Arizona State. Who is she running from, okay? In the end, he is the most loyal friend you will ever have. He is humble, unassuming, and just one of the guys. When you are a friend of Bob, you are a friend for life. I could talk about Bob and golf all night. I might kill myself, but to be honest, he is much more. Golf is only a small portion of our amazing life. He is a better husband, friend, and best friend than a golfer. His pride and joy is our daughter, Jordan. They are one and the same minus golf. Confident, independent, strong, loyal, and fearless. I feel for any boy that comes to pick her up. You can take the boy out of the country, but you cannot take the country out of the boy. Lord knows this Jewish girl from Cleveland has tried, okay? My only drawback when it comes time to Bob, and I mean this seriously, is that if Jordan were to expect that all men are like her father, she will be constantly disappointed. She can try, and I hope that she does find another Bob Sowards, but it'll be a rare find. He is one of the kindest people I know. I apologize, Jordan, for setting the bar way too high. The day I drove into Brookside Golf and Country Club in 1992, just to get a job during my first senior year of Ohio State, was the best decision I ever made. Because that's how I met you, hon. We would not have done it. I call him hon if you haven't figured that out. Congrats, hon, well deserved. Everyone, please applaud for my husband, Bob Sowards, a 2022 inductee to the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame. I love it.
No, you can talk. You have to talk. It's your part.
Yeah. Thanks, son. It's an honor to be here tonight. I'm very grateful to be inducted into the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame. One of the things that I was happiest about was being elected alongside GT. A guy I've looked up to for a while. When I first got in the business, he was one of our leaders, his legend in SOPGA. He actually gave me my membership interview. So it's really cool to be going in with UGT. When Matt told me the news that I was getting into the Hall of Fame, I was very excited, but then he told me I only had one table. So I kind of panicked a little bit. There's so many people that I need to thank for getting me to this position. So choosing one table to share this honor with is very difficult. So the people that are here with me tonight, first and foremost, my wife, 25 years this month, Lynn. She's been with me every step of the way, from us going broke on what was then the Nike Tour, her having to work the Darrell survey and work for the Golf Channel just to pay our bills for the week, to the successes I've had. She's always been there for me as my best friend, my motivator, confidant, manager, but only once as my caddy. So I fired her after one round, but we're still married. So.
You did better than I did. My wife fired me.
So that story would take the whole 15 minutes, and I know GT's probably got 40. But I could talk all night about how much Lynn means to me, but I do have other people to thank. So, Lynn, there's nobody in the world I'd rather spend my life with than you. I love you. My daughter's here, Jordan, my pride and joy. I'm really lucky to have such a wonderful daughter. I love going to watch her play softball and volleyball over the years. Cherish every single memory that I have of all the fun times we've shared. I know she's leaving for her sophomore year later this week at Arizona State, and I miss her already, and that's why I'm emotional. But I love you very much, and thanks for being such a wonderful daughter. My brother Mike's here. I can't talk about how much Mike's helped me over my career as far as my golf game, and he probably doesn't even know it. When we started playing golf, I was 9, he was 11. He beat me like a drum, just crushed me every time. So then I hated to lose back then just as much as I do now. So I'd pick a fight with him, and he'd beat me up then. So I'd lose one. But the only place I could compete with him was chipping and putting. He hit the ball so much better than I did. So, and we would have competitions on the putting green when our parents were upstairs. Playing well past dark, playing all 4 majors, 72 holes each, putt on the putting green, and see who could win the most. The work ethic that brought on has paid off for me in my career. As that's still my biggest strength. Strengths are chipping and putting. It's the only thing I can really trust under pressure is that, and the reason why I've had such a long career, I think. But to say Mike and I are close is an understatement. He's the person I've looked up to and idolized more than any other person in my life. Also here is Andy Montgomery, one of my best friends, my partner in golf in the Ohio Cup and around our section, and my boss. I left New Albany about 6 or 7 years ago just for one reason, and that's to be able to come work with Andy. He's one of the best all-around PGA golf professionals that I know, and one of the best friends that I've ever had in my life. And I really appreciate you coming all the way up here tonight. Ryan Bean Bruncheck and his wife Melissa are here. I called him Bean ever since long ago when I first met him. It's a nickname that stuck. He caddied for me when I was playing tour golf full time. It's really cool having one of your best friends caddy for you and travel with you when you're away from your family, and the things that the times and memories and stories we have are priceless. We could write books on each other, but as we grow older, I appreciate him even more now looking back. And this year, I asked him, and he dusted off the caddy bib one more time and got me through local qualifying. And then the second qualifier, the 36-hole thing, had 3 or 4 delays and turned the longest day into golf into about a 14-hour day. And he made it through without complaining and helped me the whole time. We just needed one more birdie to get to the U.S. Open, but oh well. Thanks, Bean, for being here. Also got Patrick Salva, our executive director for the SOPGA. We've developed a solid friendship over the last few years, and I look forward to many more. For the rest of the time that I'm going to speak, what people would say, I'm a very private person, so I don't let people in my bubble very often. So kind of let you know what's the biggest things that shaped my career over my life. I started playing golf at age 9 because my mom and dad got into golf. I was going to try to talk about my parents, but there's no chance. I'd be a babbling idiot up here. So I'll just say that they were the best that I could imagine. So, when we were growing up, Mike and I started playing golf. Dad didn't let us go on the golf course without him until we proved we could hold up playing without holding up play, making 8s and 9s every hole. So we decided to make our own golf course around our yard. First course we designed was a chipping course, 10 to 40-yard shots. From we'd designate to tee, and we took post hole diggers and dug holes in. We played that course hundreds of times. Not sure if my memory's right, but I think I won most of those matches. The second course we designed was our masterpiece. Is across the road. It's more of Mike's masterpiece because I didn't really want to compete because I couldn't compete hitting long shots. But we made longer holes where we could hit all of our drive, including the driver. Dad would come home after work every so often and play our masterpiece. See if we were good enough to go on the course unaccompanied. I'm sure it was miserable for him, but Mike and I thought it was Augusta National. So it was pretty cool. So once he let us go on the course alone, we played round after round on that little 9-hole course, Little Soda Country Club. Great thing about Little Soda was number 2 came right back to the clubhouse. So if you didn't play the first 2 holes good, you could actually start over. And we did that quite a bit. Now, since he's here, I'm not going to lie, I started over a lot more than he did. He would sometimes just leave me, but, oh well. So when he wasn't beating me, but beat me on the course, beat me up on the course, we had a lot of great matches. And the memories of playing best ball with Dad and all his friends when I was 12, win or lose, I'd forget my wallet every single time. Mike would have to back me. But great times. But once we went to college, Dad joined the Elks Country Club, a Donald Ross course. Still really good, and we played there with him when we were home until he got sick and could no longer play. But I had a great childhood, and even though we didn't have money to compete in the bigger junior tournaments, I couldn't have asked for a better family life as a kid. Coming to college, I went to college at a place called Glenville State College in West Virginia. My roommate my freshman year was a guy from Pomeroy named Parker Long. He quickly became my best friend. He always told me when I made it on tour he was going to caddy for me and we were going to live great life on tour. He was my biggest fan and always telling me how good I was. I stayed at his house after our freshman year, and we were stupid and young and went to a party and rode home with one of his friends who was drinking also, and Parker didn't survive that night. We wrecked, but I think about him a lot over the years, and just try to make him proud ever since. So, but some of the coaches that I've worked with over the years that have made my game, Hall of Fame worthy, I guess. Because I've always had dreams of playing golf on the biggest stages and sought out the best possible instruction. I played with Jack Nicklaus twice. At both times, he told me that every major championship he won and every tournament that he won, he was working on something from his coach. So I figured if it was good enough for him, it was good enough for me. My dad was my first coach, and even to this day, I swing a little bit like him, flying right elbow. In '99, I worked with a guy named Michael Bentley. He showed in Florida, and he showed me what ground force was, how to use the ground properly. In 2002 to 2005, I worked with a guy named David Hunter at New Albany Country Club. He was the first one to show me how to eliminate the hook that I was, cursed with all my life. So from that day on, I've tried to eliminate the left side of the golf course for the rest of my life. So in 2005, 2006, more in 2007, I worked with Jim Flick, who's a legend. He taught me how to self-correct while on the golf course based on ball flight because I really had no clue up to then. 2008, I worked with a guy named John Decker from New Albany Country Club again, and finally began to understand my game and what my capabilities were. John helped me with all aspects of golf, and I worked with him for many years. 2020, I recently started working with Don Sargent at Scioto Country Club, and his instruction has made the game a lot simpler for me. Opened up a new way of thinking about how to play golf, and hopefully I can work with Sarge for quite a while. The head pros and director of golfs I've worked for in my life have encouraged me to play and pushed me to get better and allowed me time off to compete in the National Club Pros and the PGAs and things like that. Bob Alt, Brookside Golf and Country Club, Jim Gehring and Larry Dornish from Muirfield Village, Bruce Soulsby from Wedgwood Golf and Country Club, Paul Hollenball from New Albany Country Club, and Andy Montgomery from Kinsale Golf and Fitness Club. Couldn't be here without the ability to have that time off and play. So I appreciate that. In closing, I've had a pretty decent professional career, but I owe that more to the people I surround myself with more than talent, as I've always considered myself a grinder and a try-hard guy rather than a talented guy. I've tried most of my life to play well and honor the people that have helped me in the past and have pushed me to be successful. People like I've talked about tonight. Almost cried, but haven't shed tears yet. But I'm not a big believer in luck, as most of the people that know me really well know, for the most part. But I have been extremely lucky for the family, friends, and coaches that have helped me to get to this stage. So thank you very much for having me, and have a great night.
Congratulations, Bob. Well done. Gary, you got a tough act to follow here, bud. I don't know. You up to it? No. All right. Gary Taylor is our next inductee this evening, and he is truly a pro's pro. He went to Lakewood High School, then to Eastern Kentucky. I don't know what the deal is with the Kentucky tie-in tonight. Alan, did you plan this or what? No? Okay. You know, Ohio has some pretty decent schools. I don't know. Okay. He went to Lakewood High School, Eastern Kentucky. Uncle Sam sent him a letter, interrupted his golf career for a few years. He served in Vietnam. Thank you for your service, Gary. He has been married to his wife, Linda, for 46 years. Poor lady. He had the opportunity to work as assistant professional under PGA member Don Schock at Columbus Country Club for a time, and was an assistant pro at Marietta Country Club under Bernie Wennis. He got his first head professional job at Miami Shores Golf Club in '79, and they were just dying to have you there, as I understand. You were telling me earlier tonight. They didn't want anything to do with him, really. Worked at Marysville Country Club for a couple years, then was a head professional at Oakhurst Country Club. But from his time at Columbus Country Club early in his career, in December 1986, they got a hold of him and said, hey, we got an opening over here and we'd like to have you come back. And so they couldn't get rid of him for the next 27 years until he retired in 2013. He was there so long, they've even named the annual member guest the Taylor Cup. So I don't know, maybe there's a Fred Taylor, the basketball coach. Was that? Yeah. Okay. Gary's been very active in the PGA as well as running things at the Columbus Country Club. During his 37 years as an active PGA member, he served on the Southern Ohio PGA Board, holding positions of Secretary, Vice President, and President. He was on the PGA's National Board of Directors from 1993 to 1995. Gary is a 4-time Horton Smith Award winner and twice was named Southern Ohio PGA Professional of the Year. Since retirement, he served as starter and official for the Ohio Golf Association Championships and Society of Seniors Championships. He was previously inducted into the Southern Ohio PGA Hall of Fame, and presenting Gary for induction into the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame this evening is his twin brother, Larry. Can you tell them apart?
That's me. I think it's you.
Good evening. First, I want to congratulate Bob for an outstanding accomplishment of getting inducted into the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame. It's fantastic. Well deserved balance. A little over a month ago, Gary told me that he was being inducted to the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame. I was elated. I said, that's great. So he said to me, he said, would you introduce me? And I went, wow. I said, what do you want me to say? And he said, I'll handle that. I'll take care of it. So, about a week later, he comes up, gives me this. Really? So after some research, I did a lot of thinking what I could do, and I found out that in the past, most introducers for this special award were running between 3 and 6 minutes. And I thought, I can do that. Not that good at speaking, but I can do that. Well, I talked to Matt Lethers this morning, had this speech all set up and ready to go, and he says, my good friend Fred is going to say all this. I went, oh, you just stole my thunder. So now I got, that was a good one. So I'm thinking, well, I better make this change around. So Matt says, roasting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Roasting. So it was easy to write that. Being close to Gary for the last 74 years, I found it might be difficult to find the right words to say in such a short time. Fred did a great job talking about his PGA career accomplishments, and knowing that I smoked a Matt and said, this Roastie's head here. So I want to let you know, I first met Gary at birth. He was first, and 34 minutes later, I came to the world. But I got to tell you, knowing Gary for the last 74 years, those 34 minutes were the quietest of my life. You can't get a word in edgewise. Also, he's never forgiven me for stealing his looks. That came out. Over many years, there were a dozen of stories about Gary and his antics, his jokes, his characteristics. And when he's around people, he wants them to feel comfortable. That's Gary. Have a good time. Of course, have a good laugh. However, growing up, he was always a step ahead. Christmas. Every time, we're twins. Mom and Dad would give us the same gift or gifts. He had to open it real fast. You get the box open. I'm sitting there still trying to get the paper off. Oh, I got a baseball. I got a baseball. No matter what it was always the same gift. He'd always beat me to it. So finally, I'd just turn around. I don't want to see what he got. I'm opening my presents. Hey, got a football. Dadgum, you shut up. So that was it. So one year, I guess we might have been about 10, maybe 11. Mom and Dad decided to give us different gifts. So we're starting to open the presents. He had something different. I had something different. I said, this is great. All of a sudden, I got a Mr. Microphone. He didn't. You know how he likes to talk. I got the Mr. Microphone. I couldn't wait. So I probably had it maybe 6 hours, and I couldn't find it. I mean, for weeks, I couldn't find my Mr. Microphone. I wanted to have my own microphone. Sure enough, 2 or 3 weeks later, I found it on his bed. He had Mr. Microphone because he had to have the mic. In school, we always got into a little, it was fun trouble. We always got in a little bit of trouble. So I remember one year, just to tell you how Gary is, because he's always a step ahead of me. Always a step ahead. Maybe it's those 34 minutes. But we used to trade detention for each other. If we got in trouble, we'd have to stay at school for an hour and got detention. So Gary comes to me, he was on the baseball team, and he says, hey, LT, he says, we got a game. We got a game today. Can you take my detention for me? Again? So I said, sure. Well, at the time, during this time, there was a new girl that came into school. And she was good looking. I had my eye on her. He had his eye on her. No big deal. So I'm sitting in detention. Guys are come rolling in. Here comes in one of the guys on the baseball team. So you have a game today? He goes, no, they postponed the game. That son of a gun. I ran out of the detention center, went out on a school bus, and there he was sitting right next to her. And again, another step ahead of me. That's always a step ahead. What can you say? I must admit that he is fun to be around. And but however, you got to remember one thing: if you want to say something, say it quick, because he's nonstop. However, there's much more to Gary than his world-class humor. He's a great family man, dedicated father, grandfather, and loving husband to Linda. He's an outstanding golf instructor and accomplished player. He is highly skilled. He is a highly skilled golf professional with a PGA record of service to his association and club members that few can match. In closing, Gary has always been a hard worker, a perfectionist, and very generous with his time. That's Gary.
Gary.
I got mine here. I got everything color coded so I can see it. Here you go, GT. I'm pleased and honored to welcome you and you're my wingman, Gary, to the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame.
Evening, everyone. You gonna give me 40 minutes? I think you took 30 of them. That's gonna be a tough one to follow, but I'll tell you right now. Larry, thank you very much. I think you kind of missed about the girl on that bus because I was doing it 3 days in a row. And
Always a step ahead.
And I was going to come in. I said, the reason I'm always a step ahead is because I'm 34 minutes older. And when he came out, Mom just slapped the crap out of him. It took too long to come out, I can tell you right now. So, brother, thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is the members of the Ohio Golf Hall of Fame. I want to thank you for this invitation, induction to the Hall of Fame. This is truly an honor to be among the best of the best. And that's in Ohio golf, but the best of the best. Tonight I go into the Hall of Fame with Bob Sowards, an outstanding teacher, coach, player, and more importantly, a great, nice man. But I can add something to it. Good speaker too. Did a good job. So, talking about how Fred and you had the same thing to say and kind of stole thunder and things like that. I got some things here that's going to be funny. At least I think they're funny. That's sure. I'd like to introduce my table. Now, my wife, Linda, over there. 46 years. What you said, 46 years?
That's what it said in the notes.
She's the one who went, what? Our daughter, Laura, and her husband, Rick. Our son-in-law, Larry's wife, Amber. The Southern Ohio PGA Executive Director, Patrick Salvin, his wife, Sarah. My niece, Gina, Larry's daughter, Austin and Jacob. Thanks for coming out. I've been blessed with a great, understanding family and many friends. They're the ones who make tonight possible. I cannot name all the ones that has been a part of this, a part of my life. There are a few, which are my parents, Harold and Roxy. My wife, Linda, who's been a nurse for 52 years, and also the mother and father to our children. Jim Popa, a good friend of mine for over 37 years, the executive director of the Ohio Golf Association, and also the Society of Seniors. We worked together when we first met on the CDGA and SCOPGA team matches, which was a lot of fun. We drank a lot of beer at his house. Trust me, a lot of beer, trying to figure who's going to play who and when and how. And I know Jim sends regrets that he couldn't be here tonight, but there's a special reason. Not special, it's a reason. I retired and he asked me to help out, and I did. And Matt Lefferts, who followed him, is our Ohio Golf Association Executive Director, who's also the District Golf Executive Director. He gave me the opportunity to continue to work for the OGA, and I appreciate it. Thanks. And also his staff, Paul, Nate, Ryan, and all the volunteers. Also, my fellow PGA members who advised and supported me. Now, there's something I need to go into here, that there's so many people that I really can't name them all. But Robert Gerwin II, last week at the state amateur, he says, it's your time. You talk as long as you want to talk. You stay up here as long as you want to stay up here. And I'm thinking, he must not know me that well. Now, what's really funny is Larry brought those papers up, and we've never even discussed it. I had no idea what he was going to say. But I know what I have to say and talk about all the people that's been in my life. But I guess I better not. So Robert, it was a great idea. I appreciate it. So but Gary Feldman was my first golf professional I ever worked for. Gene Fallbush was the first professional I ever had a lesson off of. Both Kentucky boys. Ken Higbee was our president of the section, and I was the chapter president, and he asked me to stay involved, get involved in PGA affairs, because I want you to run it and be on a committee. That's no problem. So he appointed me as chairman of education. And I held that quite a few years and was lucky to, when I got through my chapter stint, Steve Groves told me, he says, look, he says, we want you to run for president or for secretary of the section. I said, Steve, I said, I'm not ready for that. No, we're going to. I said, Steve, the names are already, they're in. The time's over. We got the meeting in 2 weeks. He said, we're gonna make some phone calls. Well, who's running? Well, running against one person, and he's in Cincinnati. The section meeting's gonna be in Cincinnati. Daggone if he didn't nominate me from the floor, and I won. So I got the most votes. And that's what kind of started it, and through Ken Higbee, I was staying involved, and that's what I did. I stayed involved, went through the chairs, and it's been a good run. Dick Plummer, great friend of mine, Camargo professional, great, outstanding player. Bob Bardell, good friend of mine. Diana Khan. And I mentioned Steve Groves and John Marshy. John Marshy followed me as president, and he was the vice president at the time. He called me up and said, Jim Otter's coming into Ohio from Florida, and I'm gonna come up. I said, we go play golf? No, he says, I want you to be our district director. And so does Jim thinks you can do it. I said, look, I got too much on my plate. Right now, I'm the chapter tournament chairman, section tournament chairman, education chairman, president of the section, and they want me to be on the national board. Sure enough, he flies in the morning. We have breakfast there in the morning, and they said I could do it. I could handle all of it, and which I did. Not to chagrin to my wife, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of travel, did a lot of good things. I can't thank the Columbus Country Club at the time, the board, for allowing me to do all this. So that's how that happened. Another person, of course, my brother, Larry. He alluded to later, Fred did earlier about playing golf. I didn't start playing golf until 24 years old. Never even held a golf club. Well, we did. When our graduation, Dad took us to the range, remember? High school graduation.
We played, just hit the ball and drag Gary.
Yeah. And so we graduated, and of course, my number comes up. I go to service. Larry, well, first of all, Dad says, you know, guys, look, he said, I can't afford to send both of you to college, but I can do one. I send one of you to college. Okay, no problem. Dad, we're not worried about it. We're going to go and work. We'll work our way through college. What is that? He said, no, I can do that. So when we got drafted, Larry failed his physical. And so I'm going, well, you know, I don't think I want to go to Nam. So I went down and enlisted. I enlisted in the Army. Larry goes to college. What the hell happened there? I mean, damn. So, so anyway, he goes to Ohio State, and then I spent 3 years in the service. And by this time, Larry's playing golf. So now he's getting kind of introduced to golf and this and that. I decided to go to Eastern Kentucky, and sure enough, Larry follows and goes to Morehead State, which is just down the road from Eastern Kentucky. And I'm in Richmond, and he's in Morehead, and he gets a job working for Gene Highland at Mount Sterling Country Club. And we're talking all the time. Oh man, this game of golf, you're gonna love this, man. You gotta get into this game of golf and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I'll try it. I went out and bought a set of clubs. Bag cost me a whopping $60. The reason why I bought it because the bag was a staff bag and it had Dunlap written on the side. And I just loved that Dunlap. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So I go down and see Larry, and he's looking at his clubs, and I want to match really. He's kind of looking at them like this here, you know, as well. And you play with those? That's what I got. So I get to Eastern. I'm going to still go back to Eastern. I got these clubs. And I got to meet some of the guys on the golf team. Somehow they liked me. I don't know what happened. We became good friends always. And as their practice, we'd go to Arlington Eastern there, and they let me play along. And I'm out there shooting 100, 95, 98. And these guys are shooting great numbers, and they didn't care. It was just a great time. And so then, in that time, I got a little better. Wasn't great. My brother come to me at Christmas time and gave me a brand new set of clubs. Remember? Yes, you do.
I just remember the money I lost.
He gave me a set of Jack Nicklaus irons and woods. They were laminated woods. And man, I was just so happy with those things. I was just happy as it could be. So I get a job in Lexington, Kentucky at Taste Creek. I met Steve Blackley there. And just a job to work in the shop, do the shop assistant, because I could play free. And I was getting paid $2.25 an hour. And it was great. I mean, I was having fun. I'll never forget, as I'm playing and learning, and Gene Fosterbush gives me a lesson there, and this is going on and on. And all of a sudden, I shot 39. And I think I might have been a junior in college. So it was like a couple of years. I couldn't wait to call Larry. So I called Larry up, and I said, Larry, you're not going to believe this. I said, man, I appreciate the clubs, and you knew that and everything. I said, I shot 39. He goes, but can you do it again? The hell, I just broke 40. Can I do it again? So, anyway, I want to thank Larry for those and being a part of my life and everything else. But like he said, we met at birth. And I appreciate the cards I got in mail and everything else. And I got this one today. And Skip and Kitty, thank you very much. You didn't have to put the money in it, but I really appreciate it. So, I'm going to drink of water when I was getting dry.
Excuse me, Fred.
So anyway, I graduated from college, and I teach here at school in Frankfort, Kentucky, at Frank County. And Larry, for this time, has graduated up through the ranks. He's a PTA member now, and he's working as assistant, I think, at Riviera under Reno Dela, Florida. And he calls me up. He said, Gary, you got to get in the golf business. I've introduced you to golf. He said, you got to get in the golf business. He said, it's going to be fun. I said, Larry, I'm shooting 85. Makes no difference, man. You got to get the best. He says, there's some jobs over here. You can get a shop assistant, come on back to Columbus. You're in Kentucky, do this, do that. And it was a dilemma. Do I still teach and coach? Do I follow Larry's advice, come to Columbus? And do I get sales? At the time, being ignorant about it, I could have sold golf balls or something and played more golf. We were getting the golf business. And you think of the word dilemma. I kind of pass this along to you. Just imagine that you're playing in the club championship. You're on the 18th hole, and the match is equal, all square. You have the honors, and you hit your tee ball right down the middle. Right down the middle, 250 yards. Your opponent gets up, hits it 20 yards into the woods. So you're walking down there, and you go in, and you have them look for the ball, and you look at the clock, time them, it's almost up, And he says, I'll tell you what, just go ahead and go out and hit your ball. He said, I'll look, I'll start back and I'll start looking for my ball. So you go out there and hit a great shot. It's not even a flag. Hit it about 12 feet. About that time, it lands, goes 12 feet here. They said, found it. Found it. And all I'm saying is, there goes the ball out of the woods, up in the air, lands this far from the hole. Now, here's the dilemma. Do you take the cheating bastard's ball out of your pocket? Do you keep it right, or do you keep your mouth shut? I had to get that in there. But anyway, the story's kind of where now I come to Columbus, and then I need to tell this story because I'm going to bring his name up, is the Don Schock. He was like a father, second father, mentor, coach. He did everything. And I was blessed to follow him at Columbus. But when I came back to Columbus, there was an opening there because I played with a good friend of mine who there was a member there, and I didn't know him. And we went and played 9 holes. And I went, wow, what a nice place. I'd love to be here. And I walk in, and I saw the other assistant there I shake his hand, thanks for playing. And he says, I'm leaving. I said, what? I said, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Really? So I'm taking another job. And this was we were dating, this was in June, wasn't it, Linda? Yeah. June, July. I think it was in July. So anyway, so I find this out. So I drive over to Columbus Country Club with my resume. And Don's giving a lesson, so I kind of stood back and finally comes walking off. I greet him in the parking lot and I introduced myself. Harry Taylor's resume. I said, I understand you'd be looking for someone. I said, I'd like to apply for the job. And it really was, I didn't have my PGA card yet. I'm going to be a shop assistant, apprentice. And he said, okay. He said, I'll give you a call. So I left. I come back next day. He's out playing. Very, very seldom you ever saw Don play, especially in later years. He's out playing. So I wait around the parking lot, just walk around. I keep looking. Now he comes up to the 18th fairway. I'm standing back in the greenways, but I see him. I see him. He's walking off in the cart. And I'll follow him up to the staging area. And he looks at me and I went, I just wonder if you made a decision yet. And he says, I'll call you. So I'm thinking, God, do I feel bad about this or not? I'm heck with it. I got to let him know I want this job. I go back next day. He's giving lessons. I stand back in the parking lot of ways, and he sees me. And he gets about Don was always on the range. He gets about 2 or 3 lessons. And he come walking off. I said, Mr. Shockey, he goes, follow me. We go in the shop, go in this little dinky office he's got, opens up the drawer, took a set of keys out, and handed them to me. I said, does that mean I got the job? And he says, yep, you're hired. I said, when do I start? He goes, now. I went, okay. So that's what happened. And the thing about Don, he was. You talk about a gentleman's pro. He was a gentleman's pro. He was a super nice guy, and he treated me so good. It was unbelievable. I mean, him having 2 daughters, and he treated me like a son. And when I got my own job, when I got my first professional job at Miami Shores, he'd call me up and say, Gary, we got to Calcutta. He said, come up and spend half a day with me. I said, Don, I don't know if I can. He said, yeah, you can. Come on up. So I go and spend a day. Get in the car, drive around. Remember Gary? Went on and on. Called me up another time. This went on for many years. This went on for 2, 7, 9, at least 9 years. And he kept saying, Gary, we got the latest invitation. Come on over. I'll come over in the morning. Same thing. Gary, we got the member. Yes, come over, spend time with me. And this went on a lot. And so what it was doing, I'm not going to stop talking, okay? Just shut that down. So make a long story short, it was Don that got me the job, no doubt about it. And I didn't have to apply for it. But I was a great place to work, and I really enjoyed the people. So to be inducted into Hall of Golf of Fame was never a goal. It was never a goal. And I'm sure that Bob and all the Hall of Fame members never made it a goal of theirs. You and us, the 2 of us, have received these honors from our results. Results of our profession, our playing career, and giving and going to love the game of golf. The biggest thing in golf is to give. Let's build the game of golf better. And I think that's what. The honors and awards that we have received throughout our careers are a direct result of the sacrifices of our families. So tonight, let's not forget who made the ones who made these happen. The ones who sacrificed the most are true award winners. The ones who gave us the most are families. They allow us to do what we love. I apologize for that. I know I got one more here somewhere. Gotta have one more. There it is. I guess the older you get, the more emotional we get. Tonight you honor me. I go into the Hall of Fame, but not alone. Bob and I go in together, and I congratulate you. More importantly, with me walks the person who sacrificed the most. The person I respect, or appreciate, admire. The person who is in my Hall of Fame, my wife. I just do one more thing. Well, I told you I want you to be a whopper. Shut up. I do want to thank this gentleman right here. This is the president of our golf association. He's also a Hall of Fame member. But he does a hell of a job, and he's a pretty damn good player for an old man.
You got the old man.
Okay, that kind of wraps up our ceremony this evening. Pretty good stuff. Congrats again to Gary and to Bob. Need to say some thank yous. The Ohio Golf Association wants to thank again Plumbrook Country Club and their staff for hosting the Ohio Senior Amateur Hall of Fame Championship and the Hall of Fame ceremony. Fantastic dinner. Let's one more round of applause for Plumbrook. We want to thank you all for coming, for helping and supporting these two Hall of Fame members. And we hope to see you back here again next year in 2023. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.